I might have a back.
Mayor, you're awake.
I'm back.
You're awake.
Mayor, I'll tell you why.
Absolutely dead.
I want to tell you why Mayor's awake. Because I'll tell you why.
Guys,
The famous story.
o'clock in the morning.
Chaim Kanievsky had a roommate, you should know, a Rabbi Soloveitchik, and he should do. And part of what he did, listen to this story, 10 seconds. Part of what he did was that he did Daf Yomi aside from all Zimudim. So one time he went out because they had to go out and collecting for the Pirchei. I don't want to collect money for the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, for the yeshivas, and he went collecting and he came back at 2 o'clock in the morning and he sat to do his daf. Listen to the story, boys. That's a famous story. So I said it once. He started doing his daf and like this, and then he woke up and did it again, and then for an hour straight he did that. And he was getting through 2 lines, another 2 lines, another 2 lines. So Chaim Kanievsky, his roommate, asked him, saying, like, tonight maybe like it's not going. Do it tomorrow. So he says, I'm not learning the daf for tonight. He says, I'm learning the daf for the next 100 daf. Because if I miss tonight, the next 100 daf, and then so when you come last night and you're not in the mood, you didn't come last night because last night because you don't want to break the streak. You don't want to break the
rain gets you soaked.
That's why I didn't come last night.
No, both sides. But at the end of the
3
day,
days in a row, the drought hopefully will go away. We'll stop getting emails.
might have a lot.
From the water company every day.
The drought could stop, the price still won't come down.
By the way, big hack, by the way, Blueberry Hill, the
boy.
porches
Oh,
are no
boy.
longer safe, no one's allowed on them. As
Why,
of today.
yours broke?
No, I got an email today.
Okay, you might have a law.
Saying that engineer came down and it's not good. All the
They
porches
didn't
are
look
bad.
safe.
Huh?
Do they have
It comes as a huge shock.
No, I walked in there, I called the manager, I'm like, bro, congratulations. He's like, on what? I said, you finally caught on. I told you my porch has been moving for months.
Might have a law.
They do need, they're condo actually, dude.
You ready for this? Might have a law. What is the halacha? You ready? Might have a law. Might have a law. Rabbi say, watch this. Rabbi say, we're
I'll
moving.
get you in.
Chaim. Might have a law. What is the halacha about Shechianu on the 8th? Here's
Where's the
one.
island, dude?
Might have a law. Rabbi say.
I thought we were moving.
Oh, this guy. Chaim, let's go.
Time. Yesterday we were peaceful and quiet.
Might
That's
have.
today I didn't learn anything, so now we're all on the same page.
Might have a law. Might have a law.
Who's glasses?
My Havilah means what is the conclusion? I mean, what is the halacha about Shechianu on the 8th? We went back and forth. So what are we coming out with? My Havilah. What is the halacha about Shechianu on the 8th? We went back and forth with Yochanan. You do, you don't. What is the halacha? My Havilah. What is the halacha? Question mark. Of Shechianu on the 8th. My Havilah. What is the halacha about Shechianu on the 8th? Rav Nachman Omar. Rav Nachman says, "Oimrim zman b'shmini shel Chag." We say Shechianu on the 8th day of Sukkot. Kamo.
How do you read it?
Rav Nachman Omar. Nachman says,
Oh, he's writing.
"Oimrim zman b'shmini shel Chag."
Man's going down.
I write every day.
Shaggy, you won. You broke him.
Oh my god.
Oimrim zman b'shmini
They're
shel
not gonna have
Chag.
anything to write, Chaim.
Oimrim zman b'shmini shel Chag. You say Shechianu on the 8th day. Rav Sheshes Omar. Rav Sheshes says, "Ain't Oimrim zman b'shmini shel Chag." You don't do it. The Hilchasa and the Halacha is Oimrim. You say Zman Mishmir Shel Chag. Straight reading.
Sabrienta.
Tanya Kavasei de Rav Nachman. We learned like Rav Nachman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Tanya Kavasei.
You go back to Rav Sheshes Amar.
Rav Sheshes Omar.
Crap, I didn't
Ain't Oimrim. Ready? Rav Sheshes Omar. Ain't Oimrim Zman Mishmir Shel Chag. You don't say Shechianu on the 8th day. The Hilchasa, the Halacha is Oimrim Zman Mishmir Shel Chag. The Halacha is, what is the conclusion? You do. And Machlokes is, but the Halacha is, we do say Shechianu on the 8th day. Now watch this. Tanya Kabbas say to Rav Nachman. We learned a brisa like Rav Nachman. Here we go. Shmini, on Shmini Atzeres. Shmini, make a dash. Regel b'fnei atzmai. It's a regel b'fnei atzmai, which means it's a yom tov on its own. Inyan, these three, Pazar, Tashav. And we're gonna. These are all abbreviations regarding these 6 things. I know the Gemara will elaborate on that. The Gemara will break it down each one. Watch this. Pious is the lottery. The lottery. Who does is different. Avodas. Every day they had a lottery. Yeah. So pious is the lottery. Pious b'fnei atzmai. Pious b'fnei atzmai. It's its own lottery. Zman b'fnei atzmai. Its own shechianu. Regel b'fnei atzmai, it's its own Yom Tif, right on top, no sukkah. I mean, regel b'fnei atzmai, why is it regel b'fnei atzmai, no sukkah? It's something different. Carbon b'fnei atzmai, it has its own carbon, right? The only carbon we spoke out, you lose the one par and only one ram and 7
Oh, but if you miss
sheep.
one on the day before, you can't catch up.
Shira b'fnei
That's the
atzmai, Shira b'fnei atzmai, its own song, the Levim sing a song. And bracha b'fnei atzmai, yalav v'yavai.
So here's the kasha. We're saying regular b'nei atzmai inyan
Sukkah.
mashma that there are inyanim that it's not b'nei atzmai.
Regel of an atzmai, which means that it's the practices of the Yom Tif.
Oh, these are the practical differences between this.
This is what comes out. This is what comes out. Regel means that the practices of the Yom Tif, and we don't do sukkah as we just did.
Why not?
Meaning it's similar, probably doesn't have.
Oh,
it's similar.
you're saying good. I don't think.
Is there a different regular for this? I mean, you have to come up
Okay,
again.
Avrami's Rafal's asking. Rabbi said Rafal's asking. What
There's
about?
carbon. It's included in carbon. We were just
I
talking
hear.
about that.
Hold
We
on,
just spoke about
hold on,
this.
What's the call asking?
Okay, 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. Rafal, you're mechavet Rabbeinu Tam and Tosfos.
Wait, explain. What was his question?
The Tosfos, he's asking how come say lina b'fnei atzmai. Shkech for raising the kasha, and it's discussed in Tosfos on the left side.
What's the
Discussed. Tosfos points out this is not like we said before. Before we also said lina, so it's a discussion in Tosfos. Lina, that we'll you ready?
You have to go up for
Mishnah. Ahalo. Here we go.
Separately?
Ahalo.
So why doesn't it have anything?
He wants
Why is it not part of the list?
Ahalo. Rabbi say ahalo. Watch this. Halo ba'simcha shmoina ketzad. Halo and simcha. Rabbi say simcha means listen closely. Chevra, listen. Rabbi say we're getting close. Rabbi say listen for me 1 second. We are a month away. We are a month away from Sukkot, Chevra. We're mamish learning the halacha of Sukkot.
So we're a year away from Siyum. We need the whole Chazorah, the whole thing.
Halo ba'simcha. Halo ba'simcha. Watch this.
He's probably right about that too.
Halal and simcha. Simcha means Rabbi simcha means shlomim. Carbon shlomim. Right on top of the word simcha shlomim. Halal ba'simcha. Halal and simcha shmoina ketzad. It's 1-1 on 4 words. We said in the last Mishnah that halal and simcha is all 8 days. Now the Mishnah wants to clarify. How do you have all 8 days? Halal b'simcha shmoina ketzad. How do you have halal and simcha for all 8 days? So the Mishnah just explains. Melamed is teaches us Shechayev Adam, a person is obligated b'halo, the whole halo, u'b'simcha, and simcha, Kam Shalom, u'v'kavod Yom Tov v'achrein shel Chag, and to honor the last day of Yom Tov, u'v'kavod Yom Tov v'achrein shel Chag, and to honor the last day of Yom Tov, kishar kol yemay Chag, and to honor the last Yom Tov like he did the other 7 days.
Didn't we just say it was separate? Didn't we just say it's separate?
Well, I don't know.
It is
Not
separate,
separate.
but no, it's a separate Yom Tov. But being that we said it has simcha, which means you has certain things. Listen, every Yom Tov has simcha. So this Yom Tov has simcha that you have to also have the carbon shlomim.
And why are we comparing to the 7 days? We should compare it to Pesach and Mashma. It's not separate things.
You're saying good. At the end of the day, we're saying it's by itself, but it does schlep. We'll see in a minute. Rabbi said we'll see in a minute. Stay tuned here. Minohanimili, you ready for this? You ready? The Olam's with me. Olam's with me here. The Olam's with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just said the last day of Yom Tov, you have to do 2 things. Simcha, you have to honor it. You have to have the simcha and the whole halal like the first 7 days. Minohanimili, question mark. Right on top, how do you know? Simcha on the 8th day. Simcha means the carbon shlomim. How do you know? The shlomim or / simcha on the 8th day. So let's call it simcha. Simcha means meat. It says ain't simcha ella b'basa v'yayin. So minayin minahanamili. How do you know? Simcha on the 8th day. Watch this, Rabbi say. The Tan Rabbanan, the pasuk says v'hayisach sameach. Put that on quotes.
I guess Ach is the extra.
And you write extra pasuk. This is an extra pasuk. It already tells us you should be happy 7 days. This pasuk is an extra pasuk. The rabbis, right? Which make sure you make note. It's an extra pasuk. The rabbis to include.
Part of the same puzzle.
Leila, but it's extra. It just says be happy for 7 days, and you should be happy. And it says it already twice. The rabbis comes to include Leila Yom Tov Achroin. Listen to this. It comes to include the last night of Yom Tov, which is really, you have to write on top, the eighth night. Let me clarify.
Seventh night,
the
eighth
night
day.
of the seventh, which is really what?
8th day. Shkia.
Even the night after.
The night after the seventh. Write that down. Nobody say Leila Yom Tov Achroin, the night after the seventh.
No, possibly it's fine to me.
Now, Rabbi say, watch this. Make a small footnote on the side. Small footnote.
On what? On which word?
Leila Yom Tov Achron Shal Chag. And I'll tell you why. Write this footnote. Shecht the carbon on the seventh day.
That's weird. Rosh is very strange.
Shecht the carbon on the seventh day and eat it on the night of the eighth. On the eighth night.
Chef the cover on
The
the.
seventh day and eat it
Well,
on.
if it's a separate
Wait.
yom, have you shech one tonight?
Wait, 1 minute.
It's separate, you can't
One
shech
minute.
on.
So shecht the carbon.
Valid, shut up.
Shecht the carbon.
Eat.
Question is
On the
legit.
seventh
Sure,
day.
sure. Please rewind.
He doesn't know he's there.
Shecht the carbon on the seventh day and eat it the eighth night and eighth day.
And eat it on the.
Eighth night and day.
Why do you do shechta before?
I'll explain in 1 second. Explain for 1 second. 1 second, Chevra. Let me just explain something. Yeah? Sure, you gonna get this? Remember? Can you remember all this?
Yeah.
It's so important. Listen to this. You ready? You ready, Chevra? Well, look, the pshat is that you're not allowed to shach carbon at night. Every time they shach the carbon, you have to do by day. You shach it by day and you ate it that night. Now watch this. Or maybe Ella, or maybe only. Ella. Watch this. Ella, or maybe it's including, meaning we're trying to figure out, is it including the eighth day? Ella, or maybe it's only including Yom Tov Harishon, the first night.
Meaning that you shechted Erev Yom Tov.
Right on the side, right one on the side. Shecht on Erev Yom Tov and eat the first night. Shecht on Erev Yom Tov and eat the first night. So which night are we including? The first night, Rabbi Say, there's no mitzvah to eat because you're not shecht at night. You only have to eat a carbon on the first day of Sukkot. So we have to include one extra night, an extra time. Ach Sameach is an extra pasuk.
And eat the first night or first day?
No, the first night. May I go? Because you only allowed to shech by day. So you have to include it's an ach sameach. Ach sameach is saying have more simcha. When should you have more simcha? Should you have more simcha on the eighth, in the night of the eighth, which is already Shmini Atzeres, or should you have simcha on the first night, which you don't eat, you don't have a chiv simcha then. Why do you have a chiv simcha the first night of Sukkot? Because the morning, because you know no time to shech it. Amazing.
Oh, what about Shabbos, Erev, the 8th night?
But with your Pesach, isn't the carbon Pesach?
Same thing.
So,
same
but
question
the
as
next
last
day.
night.
No,
Can't
isn't
shech
it
one yom
Pesach?
tov.
Here's Sukkot. Here's
I know, I'm
Sukkot.
just saying.
Oh,
similar to
yeah.
that.
Because it says in Torah you should shecht it. Right. Says the Gemara.
Take a bonus every day.
Says the Gemara. Mar ba'ani. Watch the Gemara says. Mar ba'ani. Ready. Mar ba'ani. It's logical to include Mar ba'ani. Mar ba'ani. What did I skip? Oh, I'm sorry. But I said Kishu Oimer.
So it's a question mark?
It's a question mark. Ein el yom tov arishain. Question mark. Says the Gemara. Kishu Oimer. When the pasuk says ach, ready for this? When it says ach, put that in quotes. Make a dash. Chilek. Chilek means we limit the first night.
Ach in quotes.
Yeah, ach. It says ach. Ach is always but. It's a limitation. The word whenever it says ach, it's coming to limit something. So limit the first night. I mean, don't do it the first night, only the last. Limit the first night. Don't do the first night. Don't do simcha. We had a question. Should you do simcha on the last night or the first night? Do it on the last night and limit the first night. But now the Gemara asks, Umar ro'is, and what did you see? Umar ro'is, and what did you see? Umar ro'is, and what did you see? The rabbis to include Leila Yom Tov Achroin, the last night. He's not going to write.
I don't know exactly what's up.
Hello? Umaros, and what do you see? L'Rabba used to include Leila Yom Tov Achroin, the last night. Because we're saying, one second, hold on one second. We're saying to include the last and limit the first. If in as much as we have to include one, it says Ach Sameach, more Simcha. Who said you should include the last and not the
If
first?
we just said that ach means to take away, not like rabbi, then how can you do?
So we have, oh no, because you have Ach Sameach means more. Ach means less. So limit one and include more. What? Umar Ros, and what do you see? What would you see about this? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Allah said, Umar Ros, and what did you see? L'Rabbis to include Leil Yom Tov Achron, the last night, Kama, Ulahoitzi Leil Yom Tov Rishon, and then take out the first night. Question mark. You ready? Watch this. The Gemara gives such a geschmack answer. The Gemara says easy.
Maharaj, you can't shech before. We just came up.
No, maybe the pasuk shados do shechta before.
That's the chiddush. The chiddush would be that you wear.
No. So my answer says Mar Ba'ani. It's illogical to include Leila Yom Tov Achroin, the last night. Why? Sheyesh Simcha Lefanov. It's continuing from the previous Simcha. It's just adding on, right? You're just continuing.
So
it makes more logical to continue a mitzvah. If I was already doing the mitzvah in the morning, you could do it that night. There's already simcha before that. Umoitzani, and it's logical to exclude Leila Yom Tov Rishon, the first night. She'ain't simcha lefanav. There's no simcha before it. It's creating something new. So if I have to include one and exclude another, I would include something which is just a continuation. It makes more sense. Why start a new mitzvah? Oh, I never had something like this before. Create something new. No, just continue what you had before.
So it's much more not like what we said over here. That's a new thing.
No, it doesn't have to mean that's not a new yom. But it means that it could be that we have some sort of continuous flow of the mitzvah of simcha. Simcha was today for Sukkot. Simcha tonight for Shmini Atzeres. Says the Gemara. And you should also want to speak out. Rabbi say, I want you to know there is a mitzvah, Rabbi say, to have on Sukkot, every day of Sukkot, meat and have a revius of yayin. I remember I was once in Eretz Yisrael. I was once helping out. I was once helping out an organization in Eretz Yisrael once, as on Sukkot time, and the lady who ran it, the family, she came over with me. She's an older lady. She said, "Did you have any meat today?" It was like a Friday afternoon. So I said, "No." She says, "Come here." She brought a pot of meatballs, and she's like, "Maybe go to the sukkah and eat it," because she says it's a mitzvah to have meat on every day of Sukkot.
Was it like the best meatballs they've ever had, or like
No, but that stuck out. That stuck out, and so much so that every year in the Ated of the Hamadiyah, someone writes, he writes, don't forget, he brings down the halach, and he brings down, don't forget that meat and wine in the sukkah every day Yom Tov. Like he writes like a reminder, because I think Yom Tov you'll have meat, but on Chalamoid you're traveling and this that, you're not sitting down and having a meat and wine. But if you do it, you're Mekayim mitzvah. So here we're learning it. There's a mitzvah simcha, all 8 days. So and there's whole shiloh because we don't. There's whole shiloh chadra. We don't have a carbon shlom right now, but we could have still be shachted. Sukkah shiva. So I think wine might be more important than the possibility that look into it. Sukkah shiva ketzah, because it says now that we don't have carbon shlomim, we have to.
And it says
Sukkah shiva ketzah.
That's why.
Sukkah shiva ketzah. How do you have only 7 days of sukkah? By say, write that down. That line, that word. Sukkah shiva. How do you have only 7 days? Because it says sukkah is only 7 days. So what are you gonna do to demonstrate that sukkah is a 7 day sukkah? You flowed from 7 days straight into another yom tov. So now Coach Shmeir says, what are you going to do to demonstrate that it's a new...
right, you want to make sure that it's clear.
But exactly. Rabbi say, in Eretz Yisrael, when we had the whole discussion about eating in the sukkah, that Rabbi say, in Brach, you remember that we had a whole discussion, you eat in the sukkah on the 8th day? Was that regarding Eretz Yisrael or only Chutz La'aretz? That was only for Chutz La'aretz, because we have a shayla, is the 8th day sukkah, is it not sukkah? Right. In Eretz Yisrael, they don't eat in the sukkah on the 8th day.
The 8th day, they know for sure.
The 8th day, they know for sure the 8th day. It's not, they don't think it's sukkahs. We have a whole shayla, it might be sukkah, so eat in there, they'll make a bracha, right? But in Eretz Yisrael, when they know it's the 8th day, it says it's in the sukkah for 7 days. Why they don't say the 8th day? Only chutzars have a whole shayla. So this mission is a discussion right now. What do you do in Eretz Yisrael? In Eretz Yisrael comes the 8th day, it's not sukkahs anymore. How do you show it's not sukkahs? Sukkah shiva ketzah. Sukkah, what? Sukkah, a sukkah for only 7 days, how? So Gemara says, Gomer milachol, you finish eating on the 7th day. Right?
Why don't we learn from Lulav?
Lo yater esukasa. That was a whole discussion. What?
Okay.
Lo yat esukasa. Don't take down your sukkah. Don't untie your sukkah.
Is the question how do we fulfill?
No,
How do you make a
because we know.
distinction?
How do you make a
How do
distinction?
you- okay, that's the good.
Distinction.
Right. How do you demonstrate? How are you showing that the sukkah for 7 days? So he says over here,
The next letter will-
sukkah shiva ketzad.
Just 8 days.
Exactly. So the Gemara says, how do you do it? How do you show only 7 days? Go with milacha, finish eating lo yat sukkah. So don't untie your sukkah. You know why, guys? Why shouldn't you untie your sukkah if you finish eating it? Because maybe you're gonna use it again. So maybe you want to take a nap.
Right.
Right. Oh, so that's a whole shiloh. The whole shiloh that Taisus earlier dealt with that. Gavaldik. Gavaldik. Lo yat sukkah. Don't think about your sukkah. Aval, but murid esa kalim. Bring in your kalim. Mina mincha
Does
ulamala.
that mean bed or like utensils?
Utensils that were in there.
It doesn't mean shkia.
It could, I'm sorry, Rameir, you're right. It could be beds. It could be things that you brought in there. Murid as a kalim and a mincha lamalo. That's already coming towards the end of the day. Bring your kalim in, utensils in. Why? Watch this. The Pnei covered Yom Tov Achron Shachag to prepare and to honor the last day of Yom Tov.
You're allowed to prepare for
This is a good shiloh. It's a good shiloh, everybody say. It's a good shiloh.
question though.
Because it's not Yom Tov.
It's a good shiloh.
Great question.
What's the malacha though? You're not.
You could ask that question on
No,
the street
just
before.
like before Shabbos, you can't clean your house, put things away special for much Shabbos. It's a good shiloh. I'm not sure why it's not. So
Rami, it's a good question. You should ask on the shechita before.
fine, you ready? Ein loy b'linei. I will b'linei to get to it. Ein loy kalim lohirid. You don't have kalim to bring in lohirid to bring down. Lohirid means to bring down. You know what? To bring down. We said moyer to bring down the kalim. It used to be the sukkahs were on the roofs. Remember we had
Yeah,
that
we had that
chassan.
chassan
Gavaldik. Valdik. Ain't like Kalim Lahayri. He doesn't have Kalim to bring down.
Why
Mahu.
just sleep in your house?
Mahu, what should he do?
Oh, that
Yeah.
was only
Why
according to
just-
that
How do you
sheet
make a
though.
distinction?
Why don't you just sleep in your house?
Sheet,
The
though,
made
there
a
wasn't an issue of yichud.
He made a sukkah in a place where it wasn't an issue. Yichud.
He's valid, he's valid.
That's good. He's holding.
Mom,
He's
why don't you
holding.
just sleep in your house for
Oh,
5 minutes?
you can't sleep in your house.
Why not? You're not
Because
sleeping
he
in
says,
the sukkah.
well, you could no.
No,
No.
it's only 70
This is-
That's
No,
showing
we
that
moved the
he's
7th day. We
supposed
moved the 7th
At
day.
the end of the 7th day.
So but it's still the 7th day. So if it's still the 7th day, you got to eat in the sukkah. But do something to start showing that we're having a new day coming in. You're supposed to prepare for the new Yom Tov. The new Yom Tov is the Shmini Atzeres. Start taking down the kalim. Start bringing it in. Good? Yeah? Ain't like kalim lahayrid. If you don't have kalim to bring down, mahu, what should you do? Because you have to demonstrate it somehow. So funny, right? You say, what do you mean, we bring down? The Gemara asks, mahu, what you do? Question mark. The Gemara asks, like, what? Ain't like kalim?
Meaning it seems that you have
Question
to
mark?
do something to this thing.
Exactly. You ain't like Kalim, Lahirid Ma'u. What should you do? What should you do to show this distinction? The Gemara says, ain't like Kalim? Ella Kish ain't like Kalim? He doesn't have Kalim, it's a run on make a dash. Ella Kishtamish, when he was using the sukkah, b'ma Yishtamesh, how do you eat? How do you Firzach? You know, how do you
Not everyone has. Just like we said.
no, but what do you do? How do you live in the sukkah? But my son, what did he use? My son, what did he use?
Same
Yes.
tables and chairs type.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he had nothing to bring down. So what did he do the whole sukkah? So what was he doing? Then my answer is, Ella, we made to say, Ein loy makom lo hayrid kelev. He doesn't have any place to bring down his kalim. Mahu, what you do?
Or you use plastic plates.
He doesn't have any place to bring down his kalim. Why? His house? I don't know. Or after the homeless shpachas over, a lot of guests, second days, they rolled in now, and there's no room. There's no room. There's no room.
Not a new city house.
There's no room. I want to tell I have to say something, boy.
Like
You should know.
Logie, like Logie.
I read a story of in the early 1900s in Europe when they cleaned for Pesach. Just so you get an idea, it says Erev Pesach. Everyone in the town, the shtetl, this is what they did. They cleaned the house on Erev Pesach. Everyone in the town brought out their one or two things they owned, the table, like 2-3 chairs, and then they went and like a few items they owned, whatever the few things, and they went. They cleaned the whole house. They put everything back in, and the house is gonna be just a few hours. Namish, it says it was the day before Pesach or Erev Pesach. It says.
That's really.
They
That's
brought-
all you.
So what do the women
I'm
have?
telling you, I read this.
Only this year.
This
This
is a-
year, there's a sudden phenomenon. All the social media platforms.
it's more about to relax, to clean the inner chametz, not the external chametz. It's,
Rabbi
sorry,
said,
this year,
I didn't
what
be
happened.
aware of those posts.
What happened?
Oh, this.
Hold on, Hebra.
For some reason.
Rabbi said, be careful. This.
Nobody keeps this year?
I don't know. I don't know.
Moving up
I don't know.
No,
I know, but I will tell you that Rav Chaim Kanievsky, when the Rebbetzin was looking for an apartment, he asked him, "Do you want to come? Like, you want to be involved in the thing?" He says, "No. This is the Rebbetzin apartment. He has one makasha. The apartment shouldn't be big." He says, "I cannot think of what it's like to clean an apartment, a big apartment on Pesach." He said, "I once told him in America, people are buying big homes, and they were trying to get him to make a statement to be upset. So he said, he's the only thing was he doesn't know how the Americans clean the Pesach time. Like that was a shaila. He told them to clean the Pesach. He said they thought he's gonna make a statement that they should be so with it. He said he doesn't know how they make Pesach.
Yes, I'm knowing.
So Pesach, let's stop over here. Gavaldik. We covered a lot today. The Olam is we're holding stocks. No, Mayor, that was start.
More special time than you.
Wow.
You can hit the excellent top right.
Wow.
That's
Shkoyach. Baruch.
Yeah.
Shkoyach.
By the way,
It
this
was
Straight from our bar mitzvah.
straight.
guys.